Hey, and welcome to the Jessica Paul podcast. I'm your host, Jess Paul, actress, manifestation expert, and mindset coach. And I'm here to share with you all of my secrets on confidence, success, and the magic of manifestation. If you're ready to dive in deep and see more success in your career, more money in your bank account, and more love in your life with a whole new level of freedom, then you're in the right place. I'm letting loose on everything you need to take back control of your life, up-level your mindset, and tap into your manifestation powers. I'm so excited that you're here. Hey, you beautiful humans, she's actually back. She's actually back this time. Like, I'm not gonna lie. The last few podcast episodes since coming out of hospital, my energy has been low in terms of just trying to manage it. And that's all cool. That's all good. And it's something that we will dive into. But even still now, like, I'm still adjusting and making sure my energy is still up there. I've had quite a busy week, but we keep going. And I'm back to bring you all the vibes now. Like, got some very juicy podcast episodes on the way for you. But for those of you that are new to the podcast, hey, my name's Jess. I'm here to help you stand out and reach your next level life and career and anything that you want to manifest. And we talk all things mindset, manifestation, miracles, spirituality over here, and we love it. So, hey, welcome into the community. So guys, today I'm excited because I've got another guest speaker on, and you know, I do these guest episodes like sporadically. Is that a word? Sporadically? I don't do them that often, because obviously I love doing my solo episodes. But I always love having a guest on because it's just like new, fresh energy. And this lady that we've got on, God, guys, she's bringing all the vibes. She's just such a great energy. We actually connected through Instagram, and funny connection that we have, but I will explain more in one moment. I will introduce her and get into the episode. It's a lovely, juicy episode all about a very big, successful manifestation story. But before all that, I'm going to start off with my sponsor this week because I've got a very exciting sponsor, guys. We're back with a special offer. So I've been teasing you all about this over on Instagram. I've got a brand new masterclass coming out. And this masterclass is called Becoming Superhuman, right? And basically, this is a concept that came to me whilst I was ill in hospital. I just downloaded this concept for this masterclass because this is the whole premise is that we are able to go above and beyond what the average human being can do in terms of our mindset and how we view certain situations. And we're able to constantly live in that way. Like consistently live in that way. And if we are consistently in that vibe of being superhuman, then nothing phases us, right? Like whatever adversity we face, whenever it feels like life has like thrown us something in the face, we are able to move through it freaking easily and still be highly successful because you guys listening to this, you're all ambitious women, ambitious people, ambitious souls that want to be successful, and you totally can be. So this masterclass is leading you through what it means to actually be superhuman, the 4 main traits of being superhuman and how to embody them, and lots of other mindset tips and hacks on how to move through this adversity, how to keep going consistently, how to keep your vibrations sped up, and how to be freaking victorious when everybody else wants to be a victim, basically. And I'm so excited to bring this fresh new energy into this community. I've had so many new souls join the community since then. And it has been a while since I brought an offer out because I've been busy creating, doing lots of creation for the new upgraded Mindset Miracles and Manifestation Academy, which guys, more information on that will be coming out very soon. And I know a lot of you already have joined the waiting list. You're very excited. This is going to be coming out around September time, guys. So if you know that you are ready to really step into this, learn exactly what it means to manifest the life of your dreams, then this academy is for you. So more on that will be coming out very soon. But in the meantime, this is a brand new offer that is going to give you that loving kick up the ass that we all need. And it's going to teach you how to become freaking superhuman because we're all capable of it. So if you want to grab your space, then all of the information is going to be in the show notes as usual. And this is going to be taught live with me. And not only are you getting all of this, but you're also going to have the opportunity for a live Q&A with me at the end of it, which I love doing because I love actually getting all of you guys in one space and being able to share the wisdom on all of this stuff. So make sure to get your questions prepped. That's all I'll say, because we'll go through the masterclass and then at the end you'll have your opportunity to ask me all the questions that you want. So can't wait to see you guys there live with me in this brand new masterclass. But let's get into today's guest speaker episode. Let's introduce our guest speaker for today. So we have got Sally Wallace on. Sally Wallace is a podcast host and mummy to little miracle Roman. After a successful 14-year radio career came to an abrupt end, Sally switched up careers into the world of car sales and embarked on a new journey to becoming a mum. After years of struggling with fertility, Sally started her IVF journey and, with a little nudge from a psychic, her podcast, Adventures of a Geriatric Mum, was born. Sally's podcast was initially created to break down the taboos surrounding fertility, but it has since become so much more. A place to hear incredible stories of women helping women, professionals who help in all areas of life, in particular fertility, a place to laugh out loud and have a cry in the car. Sally is honest, open, and shares stories from her journey so far and invites you to share yours. Warning, this podcast is infectious. Expect smiles, laughs, and a warm welcome to the Good Vibe Tribe. So guys, Sally is so funny because the connection, so we connected on Instagram and actually she invited me onto her podcast, this amazing podcast I've just introduced, first, and we did a little swapsy and I brought her on mine because I heard more about her story with IVF, and she has such a great manifestation story where she manifested her son, her little miracle, Roman, which is just fantastic. So we're going to hear all about that. But not only that, guys, like she's a creative. She was in the radio industry for years. And I know a lot of you guys are all creatives too. And it's just such an interesting story. But the weird connection is that she actually was the voice of Capital FM here in Manchester for 14 years, like I said. And I used to listen to her on my way to and from college every day. And I first started speaking to her, we voice noted each other, and I went, oh my God, I really recognize your voice. Like, why do I recognize her voice? And it was because I listened to her for freaking years. So anyway, without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Sally. Enjoy the episode and go, like I said, and go and grab your space for this masterclass. I'll see you all there in a few weeks. And enjoy, guys. Lots of love. Hey, Sally. Thank you so much for coming on the JP podcast.
Oh, hello, Jess. I can't tell you how excited I am. You know, this is my first time as a guest speaker.
Is it?
Yes,
oh my God.
Thank you.
Wow. Amazing. So you are, right. So we connected, just so people know, we connected over Instagram, and you're a podcast host yourself. Amazing podcast. We'll get into that in a minute. But you used to be a radio host, and we were just chatting before, and I just think this is such a divine connection. You are actually the voice of Capital FM in Manchester, which I listen to every single day driving back from college. Like, I listened to Capital for years and I love that.
That was me.
That was you. I know, I love it. I want to chat to you today. All things kind of manifestation in your journey, because you've got an incredible story about going through IVF and everything like that. But you've also just got like incredible life stories from your time in the radio industry and all of that as well. And so I just want to start this episode off really with you introducing yourself and giving us a little like rundown on where you've been and how you've ended up as a podcast host today.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for asking me to come on your podcast. I love the work that you do. And honestly, I'm really grateful for this opportunity. So my name is Sally Wallace, but I was Sally Hudson before I got married. And I was a radio presenter for 14 years. Goodness me, that was a long time ago now. So, but I know I'm more than happy to tell you. So I'm born in 1978. So I'm a bit of we'd like to say a cougar, or a geriatric mother. So I grew up in the sort of era of the 80s and the 90s where my mother was, you're going to go to university and you're going to get a degree. So that's exactly what I did. I did what my mum wanted and I went to university and I got a degree. I didn't know what the fuck. Oh, sorry. Can I use potty mouth on your podcast?
Oh my God, girl,
no.
you don't even know how much I swear.
What a better check, Jess.
Absolutely fine by me.
So yeah, I didn't know what the fuck I was going to do. As soon as I got the degree, I was like, oh, what do you do now? And I didn't really enjoy university, to be honest with you. But interestingly enough, what I did at university, without even knowing it at the time, has had such a huge impact on the rest of my life. So I actually studied media and women's studies, which wasn't even a subject at the time. So I started studying it the first year it ever came out. Oh my God, I got so much stick for it. But now on reflection, I'm so glad I did it.
Amazing.
So glad I did it. So yeah, anyway, when I left uni, I didn't have a clue what to do because you're supposed to go and get this incredible job. And it's like, no, I don't know what I'm doing. I really don't know what I'm doing. I knew I loved the media and I loved everything that was about. I did an awful lot of acting actually when I was younger, but like at school plays and performances. But I had an opportunity to go out to work at Walt Disney World in Florida for a year. So I took that, and my brother had done it already before. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to go and do that. So I don't know if anybody's familiar with Disney in Florida, but you've got different parks. And I actually worked in the Epcot Centre in the Rose and Crown pub, dressed similar to Nancy from Oliver, like a wench.
Love it. Oh my God.
And it was great. I made some lifelong friends then, had a brilliant time. And then you're sort of catapulted. I actually got an extension, so I stayed out longer than what I should have done. They extended my visa. And then I was sort of got to go back to the UK because I needed to obviously get another visa if I was going to go back out there. But then when I came back, it was the ladette culture. Now, this is the time where you could see, like, Zoe Ball was famously photographed carrying a bottle of JD and a cowboy hat in Ibiza. And everyone was drinking. There used to be a program called The Girly Show, and it was like birds drinking pints and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I didn't drink pints, but I used to smoke like a chimney, and I enjoyed drinking vodka. And so I wasn't a ladette, but I was, I suppose you could say, a social butterfly, a party girl.
Yeah.
But this whole thing about ladette was all over the place, like on the television, on the radio. And I thought, God, you know what? I want to be a radio presenter because I could do what they do and I can talk about different things and I can do this. Anyway, I got so much stick for it. And it was like, you'll never do it. You don't know anybody. You're not going out with anybody famous. And it was in like 2003. I said, yeah, but I know I can do it. I know. And then I started having a bit of self-doubt and like, oh no, I can't do it. Who am I? Who the hell am I to do something like this? You know, my God, I'm just I'm just a normal girl. But I'm not even that sexy. That's what I kept thinking. I'm not even that sexy. That's what I actually thought. The shit you think about. I was like, I'm not even that sexy. And I had a crooked tooth as well. I was like, hey, what am I to do? That's really bad. But then I thought there was a part of me, the stronger part of me, that thought, oh, fuck this, I'm going to do it. So I just, at the time, this is when you could make a demo on a CD. So I paid and invested. I went to the Bruno Brooks Academy, which is in Newbury at the time, because I lived in the south of England. And I went and paid to have a demo made up. Now, I'd never been on a radio show, but I'd listened to enough radio. And I actually did my own demo and pretended that I had my own radio station called Spank FM.
Wow, I love this. Oh wow. So
I had this whole demo made up and then burnt loads of copies of it and then just sat down and the internet was really early days, so it was like dial-up, like just did loads of research and sent it out to as many, and I didn't even hold back. I sent it to Heart FM, I sent it to Virgin Radio, I sent it to the BBC, I sent it to all local radio stations. And within 24 hours, I got a call back from the local radio station, which is in Salisbury, where I used to live. And that was it. Yeah, they asked me to go in and, you know, do you want to watch? I was like, not really. No, I really want to be on air. Like, well, do you know what you're doing? No. I was just dead straight.
This is it. It's diving in head first, isn't it? And learning as you go.
And God, I look back then and I think, God, well done, Sally. You were so ballsy. You were so ballsy. You didn't give a shit, because I had nothing to lose. I didn't have a mortgage. I was living with my mum and dad. I got a call from Heart FM in Birmingham, which was still is a huge station today. And went and did a week of overnights with them. And then I did loads of different radio gigs locally, and then within 6 months got a full-time gig in Bristol, doing afternoons for a station which was called Vibe 101. It's now called Kiss. It's Kiss. It's part of the Kiss network.
Yeah.
Then I got headhunted and went up to Newcastle upon Tyne for 3 years, and was at a station there called Galaxy. That's now Capital.
Yes.
And then moved with the Capital Group to Manchester.
Yes.
And had the number one drive show in Manchester for 8 years.
And
that's
the one that I listened to for literally years.
Did it just because I thought, do you know what, I can do that. I at the time, nothing stopped me. I wasn't afraid of moving around the country. I've never been afraid of moving. I've never been afraid of change. I've always embraced change. And that's one thing that I would say to anybody is, don't be afraid of it, because let's be honest, if nothing changes, there's nothing's different. Do you know what I mean?
This is such a like, in terms of manifestation, in terms of going for what you want, like, this is such an important message for everybody, because as I've already said to you previously, like, one of the biggest steps in manifesting anything is taking that action and taking really strong leaps and risks in life. And just with that, like, first start off of going like, I believe I can do this, you know, even when people are telling you, oh no, like, how are you ever going to get on the radio? Like, it's what I like about this story is that it's very similar in terms of, like, obviously I'm a performer, I'm an actor, got a lot of my listeners that are in the creative industry as well, and like, it's quite a similar kind of thing where you've just got to go for it, and you've got to contact the people, you've got to be headstrong in that way for you to end up to that point. So tell us, like, a little bit about what then, like, transpired after that for you. So you kind of, like, you created this success for yourself, which was amazing. What then happened afterwards?
So the funny thing is, when I was sort of going around the country doing like little gigs here and there, I remember doing a week of overnights in Manchester in about 2003. It was the end of 2003 it was. And the station at the time was called Key 103. It's different now. I think it's called Hits. And I did a week of overnights there, and I had no money. I was skint. I had nowhere to stay, but I knew that my cousin was in the halls of residence in Manchester. So I asked Gemma, can I just sleep on your floor? And she's like, right, of course you can, love, not a problem, don't worry. And she said to me, wait to see the fella in the room next door. He's called Scott. He's gorgeous. Scott is now my husband.
Oh,
how weird is that? Right. So anyway, Scott was lovely. He was a really nice guy, and nothing happened at all. I was on a mission to get a full-time gig somewhere. So we lost contact for years and years. We didn't even stay in touch, I don't think. Then obviously I moved to Bristol. Then I moved up to Newcastle upon Tyne. And I remember, and anybody who lives in the north of England will know that little white cottage in the middle of the M62 as you're coming over the Pennine.
Everybody knows it. I saw a video about this on TikTok the other day. I was like, I know that house.
That farmer's a legend. And I remember driving over and I was coming like down from Newcastle, coming to Manchester. And I suddenly thought, bloody hell, I wonder if Scott still lives in Manchester. I don't even know who he is now. Anyway, I got onto my new gig, and within about 8 weeks, I had an email sent to me through my inbox, and it literally said, you are never the same Sally Hudson that I met 4 or 5 years ago. Do you remember me? I used to live in the halls of residence with your cousin. And that was it. Yeah, so we've been together 14 years. Crazy, isn't it? Crazy.
I love that.
So yeah, and that was me letting go and letting destiny take over, because I had dated every wrong man in the world up until I met my husband at the age of 30. I met him when I was 30 years old, but up until then I was dating. I could go into a nightclub, and this is like a joke amongst my friends, with I could pick out the only ex-convict with problems and take him home.
I love that.
I was literally like not interested, and they always say it always comes and gets you when you're not interested. I wanted to really knuckle down and let this gig work, and that's when I met Scott.
Amazing.
So I did really well in Manchester, and I love living in the north of England, and I was actually born in Wigan anyway, so it's very strange that I've kind of gone full circle, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But towards the end of my career, and Scott says this, and I think sometimes we forget so easily, he always says to me, you were so unhappy, babe, you were so unhappy. And I said, was it really bad? And he's like, you used to come home and you park the car outside, and I'd come outside and you'd be sat in the car and you'd be crying. And I suddenly thought, shit, yeah, I did. Why was I doing that? And he said, because you were so unhappy. And what happened in the end was, you have to go through contract agreements and so on and so forth. And the long and short of it is that they didn't want me anymore. That's what it came down to. And so I didn't get another contract. So it was almost like, I think the conversation went along the lines of, we want something fresher. So I was 36. No, I was 38. I was 38.
Wow.
And it's crazy because on reflection, I probably should have left sooner, but then I was on this hamster wheel of, oh my God, I'm making such good money and I love what I do. But also at the same time, I was so unhappy. I was so unhappy. And when I actually, we had that conversation, I'll never forget it. It was on a Thursday and I walked away from the business and the company and the whole industry that same day. And it happened in the morning, and it was like I'd lost my right arm, because for 14 years, that was everything to me, working my way to do this business. And I did have the golden carrot dangled in front of me on so many occasions of, we're going to give you this big gig and you're going to go here and you can do this and you can do that. And it didn't ever materialize. And there's a part of me that thought, oh, like sometimes you start to doubt yourself, and then sometimes you have those moments where you do doubt the universe and you think, shit, why didn't it help me do this? And actually there's bigger shit somewhere else, Sally.
Yes.
You can't see it yet.
Yes.
And at the time I couldn't see that. It took me a couple of years, to be honest with you, to get my shit back together. Don't get me wrong, I wasn't like sitting in my pajamas smelling of piss all day. I couldn't get out of that, oh, I'm a radio presenter, because I wasn't anymore.
Yeah.
And there's a part of me that didn't want to be anymore either.
Wow. Now this is such the reason that I wanted you to tell all this story is because there's a number of things in here. Firstly, it's what our definition of success actually is, because I know I've coached women who have been in the corporate industry for many years, and they've been incredibly successful, like earning a like big salary, then come to this point and gone, is this really what I want? Like, am I actually happy? And it's that question, am I actually happy? And this really relates back to how I've told you this story already about how when I came out of drama school, I was thrown into the limelight. I played Sandy in Grease. I had these roles on the West End, and but I wasn't actually happy. And like, this is actually a really interesting conversation, because guys, you can manifest even when you're not vibrating at high frequency. You can manifest. It's just harder to do. But at the end of the day, we need to think about what our definition of success is, because you can be like the top of your game as a radio presenter or an actor or an entrepreneur, but if you're not fucking happy, then what is the point, And like, you can, that's the whole process of like doing this inner healing and then actually finding what your true path is. But yeah, so like for you had this kind of realization that you were unhappy. What happened then for you?
Well, it took me a long time to process everything, because I felt very, I'm not going to say damaged, I don't like that word. I was hurt. I felt really hurt, but then actually I needed to build a bridge and get over it. And then I was so professional. I mean, I have got a potty mouth. I've been told I can swear like a sailor. But also when I was on air, I was super professional. You'd never catch a naughty, cheeky little one slipping out of my mouth.
Yeah.
And so I'd really sort of perfected my craft, to say, and I was really good at what I did, and I can say that confidently now. But then towards the end, I wasn't getting the support that I needed. I didn't really, I remember now, just on reflecting now, I was really unhappy. But at the same time, I remember when all this happened, I felt really angry, and I was like really pissed off, and I was like, why have they done that to me? Why have they done that to me? And actually now, and in fact, it took a couple of years, but then I would think, God, I'm so fucking grateful they did that. I'm so fucking grateful that I left and I moved on, because this was never going to happen. I was never going to have Roman. And that's at the time. So we got married when I was, oh my God, we've been married for 8 years now. So it was 2014 we got married. Oh no, a bit longer that now, is it? Bloody hell, no, it was 2014. And we'd started trying for kids straight away. So I came off the pill straight away. And it wasn't happening for us. And this was like me losing my job was like the catalyst of everything else that came after it. So I did not know what to do. I didn't know what to do. What the hell was I talented at? I'd done radio for 14 years and I felt worthless. I felt like I was shit because obviously I'd just basically not got another contract. So I must be shit at everything that I do. I must be shit. I've not been complimented on my work. I've been fired, basically fired because of it. What else can I do apart from this? So I really did go to quite a dark place of feeling like shit and worthless and talentless. And how on earth am I ever going to make that money again? And all sorts of like the whole plethora of shit went with it. It was horrible. So I tried a couple of things and I got involved in network marketing, which I did enjoy, but at the same time, I didn't have the belief there. I didn't believe in it and it didn't feel like it was really for me. But I gave it a go and I see these things as life lessons. I can't bear people go, oh, you failed at that. No, I didn't fail at that. Thanks.
Exactly. This is a really good point about failure. Yeah.
And I think I didn't fail at that. At least I gave it a go. And then it was Scott actually who said to me, Sally, you have got more knowledge about cars than anybody I know. Go and sell cars. And at first I thought, I'm not going to go and sell cars. I was being a bit of a snobby twat, to be fair. Or can I say that? Well, I was.
Yes.
No, I just thought, you know what? Why? Yeah, I can. So I'll never forget. I literally walked into Audi and just said, hi, I'd like to get a job here and I'd like to sell your cars because guess what? I'm bloody amazing at it. And we had such a laugh. I think I said something along the lines of, do you know what? I think you should give me a job here. And they were like, really? And I was like, yeah, honestly, I think it's going to be worth a while.
This is full embodiment. I love it.
I didn't give a shit. I had nothing to lose. And I got the job straight away. I had 2 massive interviews. And within 6 months, I was nailing it, to be honest with you. And then it was what a laugh. It was the best. I was there for 2.5 years, I think. It was the best 2.5 years ever. The banter with the lads, and there's very few female sales executives. There was 3 of us out of like 16 sales reps at the time, but just the banter, and I love that. And do you know what it did? It reset me and made me think, you know what, there's so much more to fucking life. And actually you can have fun in any working environment. It is what you make it. You can be successful anywhere, Sally. And yeah, I did. I became the S and the RS sports specialist, and I got my Audi accreditation, which means I could work in any Audi dealership if I wanted to anywhere. So yeah, I did. And then at the same time, we started going through IVF.
Yes, this is what I want to talk to you about. So I just want to, like, firstly, before we go into all of that, I just want to precursor by saying, like, your story up until this point is just, you're basically a really freaking powerful manifestor. And even if, you know, and we had this conversation before, like, even if you didn't realize it at those points, like, in the way that you embodied that woman that just kind of walked into the car dealership and just went, I'm going to work for you. You know, that's the level of belief that I teach. That's the level of belief that we all need to learn within ourselves, because at the end of the day, if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else is going to believe in you. And it's clear on your whole, like, career trajectory that you've just embodied that every step of the way. Now, obviously there's ups and downs. And like I was saying before about, like, the failure, like, not only what our definition of success is, you know, and how actually, like, we want to be fucking happy, but also, like, what our definition of failure is, because in my eyes, you never freaking fail. You never fail. How can you? Because everything that is sent to you for a reason, so that you learn from that lesson, so that you create something even bigger and better than ever, like, you could have ever imagined. So there's no such thing as failure really in my eyes, but you went through this whole, like, trajectory with your career. And then, and this is what we want to talk about now, is your manifestation journey with IVF. So, you know, again, like, I know I've got some mums that listen to my podcast, and, you know, this is, like, a really interesting subject for a lot of people. And coming from someone who is already, like, a powerful manifestor without you really realizing it.
I would never describe myself like that, Jess, ever.
Yeah, well, it's very interesting because, you know, there you go. Even with that identity, and identity is something I talk about a lot, you know, inside my academy, and how you identify as a person. And like you said before, you identified as radio host. And then suddenly you were stripped from that identity, and it's almost as if like, who the hell am I then? You know, and that's a constant feeling that a lot of us go through in life, you know, and that is, you know, something else that makes us feel like we failed when we actually haven't failed. What we get to do is we get to choose our identity. And honestly, like, without you realizing it, you have been powerfully manifesting. And I love that. I just love it, which is why I wanted to chat to you on the podcast. But like all life, and this is, you know, something that, again, we chatted about earlier, about light and darkness and the duality of life, and how it always comes with ups and downs. And again, it's your perspective and how you view the curveballs that are thrown at you is determines really how we come out the other side from them. But for you, you'd gone through this path in your career, and then you were hit with this curveball where, and this was all about conceiving and having your baby, which you now have your little baby Roman, and he's a miracle, and we will talk all about that. But I would love for you to share your experience of essentially manifesting your baby, because as you said to me before, there was a lot of your friends that were kind of like, oh, I don't believe in that woo-woo stuff. But I want to hear from what was going on in your mindset about your own journey when you were going through this.
No, and I'm honestly happy to share, and I'm glad that I'm glad you do have a lot of mums, wannabe mums, that listen to your podcast, because your work will be so powerful for them as well, so powerful. So I picked up The Secret in 2010. It must have been 2010. I started reading The Secret, maybe even before that. I think I came across The Secret, and it was my brother-in-law, Mike, who'd said to me, he's very Welsh, he's lovely, he's my brother's husband, and I actually like my brother-in-law more than both of my brothers, right? That's how much I adore this man. He went, Sally, he's very much like me, he's woo-woo. It's like, Sally, read this book, it's called The Secret. It's absolutely fucking amazing. I was like, is it? And he was like, honestly, you'll love it. Buy it. So I bought it because I trust Mike. Did I read it? No. I put it on a bookshelf. So she was sat on my bookshelf, Old Rhonda Byrne, right, for quite a while. And she must have been sat there for about 2 years. And I don't know what took me to the bookshelf. I might have been cleaning, to be honest with you. And I suddenly was just giving it a bit of a sweet pass and saw it and was like, Sally, why haven't you read that? Why haven't you read that yet? Right, I tell you what, let's read it now. And so my theory is, if I take the book out and it's on my bedside cabinet, I've got to read it. That's how I work. So I took it out, put it in my bedside cabinet, and I started reading it. Holy shit. The fact that I was in control of everything, and I had been playing the victim on so many occasions in my life, where I was like, oh, why does all the shit things happen to me? Oh, well, because you've let them, and you've actually manifested it, you big tit. What are you on about? And it was almost like, you know, and then I was like, oh, it was honestly like somebody just whipped back this curtain, and it's like, there it is. So after that, I started reading. Oh, I've read loads. I've read loads of Louise Hay. I love Louise Hay.
She's great. I love her.
Amazing. Vex King. You and I've already shared our passion for Jerry and Esther Hicks and Abraham Hicks. I've read some Eckhart Tolle. It's quite hard going. It's quite full on, but it took me a while to get my way through that one. But yeah, I'd pretty much anything that's going to really improve my mindset. I'm reading a fantastic book about somatics at the moment, and I've read Thinking Left and Right as well. I read a lot about the brain and how your mindset works. Anyway, I digress. But basically, I was already very conscious of the law of attraction, 100%. And there's certain people that, I mean, when I was younger, I was bullied. And do you know what? I was bullied because I was a fat kid. And when I look back, and it's so interesting now, because people are like, well, why were you bullied? I'm like, well, maybe, was it bullying, or was it victimizing myself? You know, what was I actually doing? Because now now I'm a bit older and I'm in my 40s. Because of my podcast, people from my school are messaging me and saying, I always knew you do really well.
Interesting.
I'm like, fuck. So yeah, that's another thing that I'm sort of, is like another little curtain that's opening up to me at the moment. So it's it was about, I was on the radio still, and we started trying for children. Let me tell you about how I sort of went through IVF. And you have to sort of try actively for a year. The doctor tells you, try actively for a year. So we did, and nothing happened. And then I went to the doctors and I said to Scott, right, I'm going to go to the doctors and just see what the next step that we can take is. And I remember sitting in the surgery and I said to him, we're trying for kids, nothing's happening. Can you tell us what we should do next? And I shit you not, he pointed to my foof, my lady garden, and went, I don't deal with that area.
Wow.
I don't really want to deal with it anyway. Cheers, mate. It was like the weirdest. I was like, what the fuck? So anyway, I managed to get a good doctor, and as things move on, it takes time. And so we had realized that we needed to go for IVF. I have what's called low AMH, but on reflection now, I've got low AMH, but it seems I've got low egg reserve. So you'll get some people going, oh, you've left it too late. There's women in their 20s that have got low AMH, women in their 30s that have got low AMH. Don't compare yourself to other people, because I can still conceive naturally. That's what I've also been told in recent years. So everybody's story is different, but this is just mine. And I hope it can help people. So I had low AMH. My husband went for a sperm test. And at the time, and I don't mind sharing this, I've shared this on my own podcast because I've done my own journey to motherhood, is my husband had 0 sperm. Now, he was in the gym constantly. He was a gym nut, and he was also taking steroids. So for him, it was a massive wake-up call. Now, men are very lucky because their sperm regenerates every 3 months. So it was a huge roller coaster for our marriage. Our marriage struggled. We separated for about a week or 2, but it's made us stronger than ever, the way that we came back. And we actually ended up selling the house as well. We were like, right, let's get out of this house. And I even said to him, we need to move. I want some new energy. We don't need to be here anymore. Let's go. And he went, right, fine, let's go. Let's move. So we were so lucky. But the week that we were moving house, I think what else had happened? I'd had to go to Milton Keynes on a training. Then we had to come back. We were going through our first round of IVF. Scott was so lucky. His sperm came back in abundance. Women, we're not that lucky. It's crazy. Men can still conceive up until the age of 60, 70. We have a window as women. So we have to sort of take it, which sounds shit, but that's the truth of it. So I was... we'd gone through all sorts of tests. Guys, all they have to do is give a sample and a pot. That's it. Women, oh my God, we're poked and prodded, and we have these huge plastic, like scanning dildos shoved up our lady gardens. And yeah, it can get quite graphic. So we had been lucky enough to get 2 goes. It's a postcode lottery IVF. We had 2 goes on the NHS. Now, on reflection, our first round, it was crazy. I was in Milton Keynes, got back from Milton Keynes. We were moving house, and then I was injecting the next day. So the stress around that alone was insane. And with IVF, you have to inject into your stomach. So I had a 31-day injection cycle. Then they go in, they take the eggs out, and then they only got 1 egg. Then obviously, they use the sperm. We did have an embryo, and when it got transferred, you have to wait 2 weeks. Then you have to take a test, or you just start to pass it, and it does bleed. On reflection, I remember being devastated, sitting on the loo, just crying my eyes out. And then obviously I do a lot of work on myself anyway. And I thought, do you know what, Sally, this was never meant to be. This wasn't meant to be. It's too much stress. There was too much. I was put too much pressure on myself. I wasn't in a good place. We just moved house. We had so much going on. And I remember just crying my eyes out, but then sitting with Scott and saying, we're doing it again. And he went, too fucking right, we're doing it again. And I went, right, he's on board. Because I'll tell you what, it's really hard, because sometimes the woman wants it more than the guy. And yeah, it can be quite a roller coaster. But second time round, different energy, totally different energy, no stress. Well, in fact, looking at it, it was more of a stressful situation the second time round, but it was the way that I dealt with it.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
100%.
Yeah, so we had 2 goes on the NHS, and they told me I had to get my second go in before my 40th. My 40th was in the July, and this was the April. And he went, right, let's do it now. And of course they were like, are you sure you want to go ahead? And I went, listen, I said, I can do anything, me. I said, I'm a powerhouse. Let's go for it. Yeah. So that was it. It was a 14-day injection cycle, but Scott had to go to the Ivory Coast and work because he's a builder. So they had to freeze the sample. So then you've got obviously the risk of defrosting the sperm. It might not defrost properly. That was one risk. We were going to America to surprise his parents at their wedding anniversary that was in Naples. And then we had to juggle all of this in the mix at the same time. And I don't know how the hell we did it. And we were going to Rome for my 40th. And this was all going to happen over the space of weeks, as well as try and get this round of IVF in. And I went, I don't give a shit. We're going to do it. Now, I listened to Dr. Wayne Dyer's I Am meditation in my car every day on that hour journey to work. And I don't know if you're familiar. I know you'll be familiar with it, Jess, but it is the I am, and it's the I am that I am. And you visualize what it is that you am. And I kept visualizing this beautiful big belly on where I was sat in the car, and it was touching the steering wheel. That's all I kept saying is, wow. I am pregnant. I am pregnant. I am pregnant. I am that I am. And I was visualizing the pregnancy. You know, I never see a pregnant woman and feel resentment or jealous. I just see a pregnant woman and think, me next. That's all I kept doing. And every time I see a pregnant woman, I'd go over and I go, oh, do you know what? I'm just going to stand close to you so I can get your lovely vibes.
Yes.
And that was it. I just used to go, yeah, I am that. I am. I used to do it all the time. I say, I am a mummy. I am a mummy. And I'd visualize everything was all about visualizing, and I did it every day for like 18 months. It was constant. I didn't miss a day. As soon as I got in the car, I wasn't asked about the traffic. I didn't mind giving a shit about sitting in a fucking motorway. Just let me do my Dr. Wayne Dyers. And people must have been looking at me, this fucking weirdo. That's me. I am.
This is brilliant though, because this is like the power of consistency and commitment, because this is like, it's probably the first thing that I talk about with my students, you know, coming through the academy and any of my clients, is that you've got to be damn well committed to the life that you want, to the manifestation you want to call in. You've got to be committed. And if that means every single day putting that on and listening to that in your car as you drive, that's part of your routine. And I teach so many rituals, and I'm very, very big on all of my spiritual rituals, because it's part of that consistency when manifesting. And I think that just that consistency in itself is obviously was such a big factor in what then happened afterwards for you.
God, yeah. And on the way home, Louise Hay has one on YouTube, and it is, you have to repeat what she says. It's got some cheesy lift music in the background, right? And it is, I am loved, you are loved. And there's me going, I am loved, you are loved. I am happy, you are happy. I am, and at one point, I can't remember what it says. It's something like, I am worthy. Fuck me, I burst into tears and couldn't stop crying. And it's almost like, right, Sally, you need to let this little spirit, this little being, this little soul come into your world. You are worthy of this, Sally. You deserve this. I am deserving. That's it. And I could cry now, Jess. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'd realized that I had a blockage. I felt like I didn't deserve it. And that's really, I get really emotional about it. And I realized that by doing Dr. Wayne Dyer on the way to work, Louise Hay on the way home, and taking the action, which is exactly what I was doing. I was going through that round of IVF. This was going to fucking happen no matter what. So you'll love this. This is really bad. So anyway, went through the second round, managed to get Scott back into the country. I was injected up to the eyeballs. They went in for the harvest to go and get eggs. They got 5 eggs out of me, bearing in mind I've got low AMH, a 2% chance. And then when I came to, I was like, oh my God. Did they get anything? Scott went, I don't know yet, babe. They've not come in, but just don't get upset. But you took a shit on the doctor. And I went, oh my God, did I shit my pants? Did I shit my pants on the doctor?
Oh my gosh.
I'm devastated. Like literally just come around from general anaesthetic, and I'm to believe that I've actually taken a crap on the hammer. Right. And I went, oh my God. And then Rachel, who's my primary, came in. I went, Rachel, I'm so sorry. I've taken a crap on my hammer. And she was like, you've not, Sally, you haven't. Who's told you that? Oh, Scott, you little shit.
Oh my gosh.
Taking a crap on Mohammed. It was just Scott. Anyway, she said, you know what? She goes, I'm glad you're all having a laugh, because you've got 5 eggs, and let's see how we go. 3 of them took, so we had 3 embryos to play with. So a week later, I was having 2 embryos pop back in, and I took a picture of them on my phone because they put them on a screen for me. And I was like, right, that's my screensaver. There you are. Come on, kids, let's go for it. So every day when I was doing my IAMs, I had my phone propped up so I could see I was obviously driving, but I could see them there. So, and I knew they were going to be fine. You have to wait 2 weeks. That 2 weeks is a dreaded 2 weeks, by the way. It's shit. Anybody going through IVF will relate to that. Anyway, did a pregnancy test, and I went to the toilet, and I came back and I went, well, this is wrong. And Scott went, what's happened? I said, well, it says I'm pregnant, but clearly I'm not. And he went, no, Sally, you are. I went, I'm just going to go and do another 2. Peed on another 2. And I was like, I think this packet's faulty. I'll go and get some more. So I pissed off to Boots and went on a Sunday, came back, drank loads of water, pissed again, and 6 pregnancy tests are correct. I was like, I can't be pregnant. And Scott was like, no, you really are, babe. You are. No, wow. No. Anyway, I had to go for a scan. We went to Rome, which was my 40th the week after, came back, and then we went for a scan, which would have been 8 weeks, and there was 1 sat in there. I had a bleed when I was in Rome, so I thought I'd lost them both, but I just sort of kept thinking to myself, kept imagining the 2 there that was on the screen, and I had 1 in there, which is why our son is called Roman. Because
I love this so much. And this whole story, there's basically just so much in here that I want to pull out. in terms of this manifestation process for anybody listening, because these are all just such important parts of this manifesting anything into your life. And something as big as a child, you know, through IVF, like that's a huge manifestation. But, you know, for anybody listening that can't relate to any of that, this process is the same for absolutely anything you want to call into your life. And not only were you, the number one thing is that the self-belief, right? Just number one, believing that it's a done fucking deal for you. It's happening. And that's like that's the main thing really with manifesting anything, is you just got to believe it is a done deal, right? The second thing is, you know, the amount of visualization you did. Now, visualization is so powerful, because that, of course, is the premise, but the starting point for anything you call into your physical reality. You know, like manifestation is just bringing your imagination into the physical. So if you're visualizing it every day and you're getting so specific with it, that is going to help the process of manifestation. Now, the other part of what you said was when you were talking about, you know, having a crap on the hospital bed, or not actually having a crap, but, you know, talking about that fun, right? Fun, freedom, just letting go, like not being so damn serious. And now this is like something that so many of us can do when it is, you know, something in your life that is, something that you really, really want, like you really desire, like you put pressure on yourself because you think, you know, like a baby, I'm in my 40s, I want a baby, it's the odds are looking against me, you know, and there's a lot of people that will tell you the odds are against you. But even for, you know, an actor that, you know, really wants to get that job, let's say you want to be on Netflix, you've got to dream big. You've got to dream big, because if you don't dream that high, if you don't visualize that high, you are never going to manifest that big. You know, like if you don't visualize that big, you won't manifest that big. And I think that when we do put things on a pedestal sometimes and we go, this is such a huge thing that's going on in my life, we get really serious about it, and we forget that life is about having fun. And when you do really take that pressure off yourself and just have a laugh, which is why what I love about your podcast that you now host, because we spoke about this before, and in that you want to make people laugh, and your energy is just infectious, and like you're just such a funny person. And it's actually like such a fundamental part of the manifestation process. If you can't have fun, if you can't just relax into life and fucking enjoy your life, what you do is, I've got this whole process that I teach inside my academy called the manifestation gap. And this is like the gap between what you ask for and when you receive it. And what you end up doing, if you don't just have fun inside that gap, you end up drawing that gap out further and further and further. And so the thing that you really desire is just getting further away from you. But if you learn to just let go and have fun inside that gap between what you've asked for, your manifestation will come to you instantly. It can be an instant process. And this is, you know, I've spoken about this before on the podcast. When you really step into the 5D, you can manifest instantly. But what you did in doing all of those things, taking all of those action steps with the affirmations, the visualization, letting go and having fun, that's how in this because it was your second round, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was my second round. And I the crazy thing is, Jess, I knew he was a boy, and I'm not one of these women who's like, oh, I've got to have a boy or I've got to have a girl. That's not me. I just wanted a healthy baby. I wanted a healthy baby that was going to make it into this world super healthy. And that's all that. But then Scott even said that to me. He said, oh, we're gonna have a boy, you know. And I went, yeah, we are. And my husband is a builder, he's a northerner, so, and he just speaks it straight. He's dead realistic. That's it. Woo fucking hell, what the hell's that? Why have you put crystal on the bloody window of the bathroom? He's one of those, right? It's
we all know it. Yeah.
Get home in the evening, he goes, Jesus Christ, it stinks in here. And there's me with my Palo Santo and my fucking sage.
We all know it.
Fucking hell, Sally, have you been smoking weed? It's like, no. So funny. But for him to turn around to me and he said to me, we're having a boy. I said, yeah, we are having a boy. And we'd just gone to the Colosseum that day, and we were walking up to Palatine Hill in Rome, and he turned around to me and he said, Sally, I want to call him Caesar. I was like, Scott, we're not calling him Caesar, for God's sake. And the funny thing is, we thought we still had 2 embryos at this point, but we were talking like we only had 1. So that was even stranger when we found out that we only had 1 in there. And then he said to me, all right, let's call him Nero. I was like, no, I'm not calling him Nero, Scott. And then the tour guide, she was mint, she started talking about Romulus and Remus and the story of Rome. And I always make out that my husband sounds a bit thick, and he's not. He owns like his own business. He's the director of his own company. He's very smart, but you've got to let him know his place, you know. So I remember he said to me, he went, right, so I'm dead serious now, Roman. And I went, yeah, it's Roman, isn't it? And he went, yeah, it's Roman, babe. And I went, yeah, it's Roman. And so from 9 weeks in my stomach was Roman, and every morning I go, all the time I'd go, oh blimey, Ro, you're getting big. And I talked to him constantly.
Yes.
And obviously by the time we came through, I won't bore you with the whole of the pregnancy and the labor and everything, but when it actually came to having him, I ended up having to have an emergency C-section in the end, and he was taken out of me and asked for them to drop the screen. I know it sounds crazy, that's not what everybody wants, and I understand that, because it is quite graphic, because you are clamped open. So, but for me, that whole process that I'd gone through, everything from and I do believe I did, and I've always said this, I believe that I manifested him 100%, because I got told I basically had a 2% chance of having him. I needed to see him coming out of me, which sounds gross, I know, but I did. I really did. And Scott was going, don't drop the screen. I was going, drop the fucking screen, drop the fucking screen. I need to see him. I said, I don't want you wheeling in another baby. Why I said that, I don't know. But
so funny.
I don't know what was going on. But I said, I need to see you pulling him out of me, because he was wedged. He was absolutely wedged. But I tell you what, they pulled him out of me, and he's the image of his father. And as soon as they turned around, I was like, oh my God, Scott, it's you. It was the most beautiful thing ever. It really was. But to me, and it sounds crazy, but it was almost like it was complete at that point. It was really weird, but it was that sort of, that part of the journey. It was like, you're here, mate. You're finally here. But it's not stopped me there, Jess, because I want to do it again.
Beautiful. And you will with exactly the same mindset. This has just been like such an incredible story to listen to. And this is honestly why I wanted to get you on the podcast, because you've achieved so much in your life, and you have done it through this manifestation process. As I said before, like, you maybe didn't realize it in your early years, but you were doing it. And for anybody else listening, like, we're always manifesting. We are always manifesting. It's just whether we're doing it in a conscious way or not, you know? And it's like, again, this is part of what I teach, is that if you want to be powerful at becoming successful and manifesting anything, whether it be a baby, a miracle baby, or, you know, a job or a relationship or whatever it is, like, you have to understand that you are in control. You've got to understand that you can do it in a conscious way. You don't have to let like things just manifest in like, you know, in an uncontrolled way. Like, you can consciously manifest. And so throughout your whole journey, you've had the ups, you've had the downs, you know, both in your career and in your family life. And I just want to ask you as like a final question, what's kind of like the main thing for you? Has been the main thing for you, mindset wise, that has pulled you through all those moments, in terms of when you got fired from your job in the radio station, and what led you on to, you know, creating the podcast, and, you know, all the things that kind of, and then finding out that, you know, you've got to have IVF, and then finding out you're getting a C-section, and, you know, these things that, like, these curveballs that have been thrown at you, because I talk a lot about curveballs. For you, what was the main thing mindset wise that pulled you through those moments in your life?
Well, I think I've only started to realize this since starting my podcast. So I started my podcast in January, but I bought a microphone. I bought a beautiful microphone. She's gorgeous, by the way. She's like a blue Yeti, and I love her. And I bought a gorgeous muff to go on top as well. I was very happy to be back in front of a muff again. So I bought the microphone about 2 years ago now, right, and hid it in a cupboard, and just thought, ooh, I'd love to do a podcast, and just left it there and didn't act upon it, didn't do anything about it. I've always, there's this, I suppose, to remember the podcast, remember the microphone's there, it's in the cupboard. The driving force in me has always been, that's not what you wanted, Sally, that's what you wanted over there, or that's okay, we've got this. So when we went through IVF, there was a part of me, this is years ago, like younger Sally, if you'd said to me, like in my 20s, you've got to have IVF, I would have gone, oh, for God's sake, why does everything shit happen to me? Or, oh my God, I can't believe that's happened to me. But actually, Sally, when she's in her late 30s, thought, that's fine. I've got this. It's not a problem. It's just part of my journey. And you know what? I'm going to fucking share it. That's fine. That's fine. Because I think certain things happen to you because they're meant to happen to you. They're meant to happen to you. And I knew this was meant to happen to me because I knew it was going to reveal itself later on. Does that make sense? I knew this whole story was going to reveal itself. Oh, sorry, it's not my microphone. It was going to reveal itself later on because I'm going to tell my story. I'm going to inspire others. I'm going to help other women go through this shit. Because when I went through IVF, I was very much alone. Nobody knew what I was going through. It's a fucking lonely place. It's really dark. But I know I'm very strong inside. I've always known that. I've always, just as a quick example, my grandfather died when I was working on the radio and I was in my 20s, and I knew he'd had a heart attack in the afternoon, and my parents had dashed over to see him because he'd been taken into hospital. Now, my grandfather was the big patriarch of our whole family. He was huge. And I remember saying to my dad, if he dies now and like I'm on there, I'm going to go on air at 3:00. Can you not tell me until I get off air at 7:00? I mean, who the fuck does that? You know, so that was it, because I didn't want to get emotional when I was on the radio. I wanted to do my job professionally. As soon as I got off air at 7, I phoned my dad, and my dad went, he passed away at 2. And I was like, oh, fuck. But I know I have that inner strength. I've always known, I've always had that. And I've had that inner drive. So, but it was only until later on in my life that I realized that things were happening to me for a reason. My mother always used to say, be careful what you ask for. And so that actually rings really strong in life, even though you probably don't think about it at the time when you're being told that when you're younger. It's a big bell. So about 2 years ago, I bought this microphone and I thought, oh, I want to do a podcast. Oh, no, I don't. Who'd want to listen to me? They'll probably just think, people will think that I want to be back on the radio again. And I don't. And I fucking went through this whole whirlwind of shit, of beating myself up. I'm crap. I can't do it. I can't do it again. And I was a mum at this point as well. I'd had Roman, because Roman's 3 now. Bless him, he's amazing. And I just thought, no, I can't do it. I can't do it. Who'd want to listen to me? And how am I going to do it? And then actually, I'm very resourceful. And I thought, do you know what? I've got a laptop. I've got GarageBand on there. I've just bought a microphone. I'll do it. Oh no, I can't do it. And again, I was going backwards and forwards. Now, last year I went to see a psychic, and I'll honestly, Jess, I've never been to see one in my life, right? Never been interested in the slightest bit. Not interested at all. If people used to say to me, I've been to see psychics, I'd be like, not for me, not for me. Like, no, I would never disrespect anybody who wanted to go, but no, not for me. Whatever happened last year, there was a shift. Sally, you've got to go and see one. So that was it. I wanted to go and see one, and I wanted to go and see a good one as well. Now, I had a bad experience at first. I went to see one in July and she didn't get anything. It was really weird. But I thought, do you know what? That's fine. It's just not my part of my journey. Do I see another one? Yes, I want to see another one. But there were signals from the universe. I went to the hairdressers, and the woman who was cutting the woman's hair next to me was talking about this woman that she'd been to see, and she'd been to see a psychic, and said this woman's name in this village that's next to mine. Now, I knew this woman had a little shop. Then I went to get my beard taken off. I went for microdermaplaning, what's it called? Dermaplaning. I was like, shit, my face has gone hairy since having kids. So the little woman who was doing my face, she was like, have you ever been to see a psychic? I was like, why the fuck is she asking me that? This is weird. I was like, no, I really want. I said, well, I've seen one recently, but I didn't enjoy it. But I want to see another one. Go and see my friend Eleanor. And it's the same woman. I was like, right, that's enough for me. 2 signs. I've got to go and see her. I went to see her, and it was fabulous, lovely energy, amazing woman. And she reads energy. And she was like, wow, I'm really blown away with your energy, Sally. And I hadn't even said anything, right? Because I know I can talk. Apologies. So I just sort of sat there. And she said to me, God, I'm really bowled over. You have to give me a minute. I've got to get myself together because I'm really bowled over by your energy. And I was like, right, okay. And I was like, I'll take from this what I will. And she's like, you know, you're a star child. You've come from a different galaxy. You're here to help people, but you're not a nurse and you're not a doctor. And I went, no, I'm not. She went, right, I'm going to come back to that one. Somebody's saying to me, wireless, Sally, the wireless, the radio. Do you know anybody on the radio? And I went, I was a radio presenter for 14 years. Yeah, you're not going to go back though. Oh, I don't know. You might do. And I was like, if the money's right. She started laughing. And she went, yeah, but you've got something in the cupboard. You've got something in the cupboard somewhere, wireless radio. And I was like, what the fuck? Yes, I have. I've got a microphone in a cupboard at home. She went, yeah, you're going to take that out and you're going to talk into it. And then you're going to, I don't know what you're going to do, but you're going to post something on the internet and thousands of people, I mean, Sally, I'm talking thousands. There's thousands of people listening to you. And I said to her, I want to do a podcast, but I haven't got the confidence to do it. And she went, well, that's not true, is it? You have. And I literally went, yeah, I have. She went, so stop holding back, Sally, get out of your way. She said, and get out of that door and go and do it. And she said, that's the one thing. And she actually said to me, I want you don't have to go and get it if you don't want to, Sally, but I think you need to put a tattoo on yourself somewhere that says patience. She said, because you need to be patient. She goes, all your guides are here. They've got your back. You know what you're meant to do, Sally. She said, you're here to help people and you're going to make people laugh and you're going to cry with them. Well, fuck me, I've been in so many tears on my podcast already. I was like, I didn't even see that one coming because I'd never, ever show any emotion publicly ever on the radio. Anyway, I left there feeling a little bit spooked, right? But I thought, do you know what? Fuck it, I'm going to do this. It took me 4 more months to get the podcast and I launched it in January and it's called Adventures of a Geriatric Mum.
Yes. And I love this so much. And I've been listening to some of your episodes and I've literally was saying to you before, I love how obviously we've done a little swapsy where I'm going to be appearing on your podcast and you're on mine. And I love that you have all of these, health and well-being episodes in there, as well as just these such uplifting, funny episodes, which are there to do just that, make people laugh and inspire people. And I actually want to pick up on something that you said just then about, and again, this is really mindset wise, guys, that are listening, that is going to push you into the success you want to see. And it is almost in a way, when you said that the psychic said to you, you know you are confident enough. You sat in front of you and said, oh, I don't know whether I can do this. And the psychic said to you, you know deep down you can fucking do it. And you knew deep down you could do it. And this is part of and again, I work through this block with a lot of my clients in that oftentimes we can fear success. We can actually fear what that means because we know we can do it, but oh my God, what's going to happen if we do go for it, And I think just being able to freaking stand up and accept that you are capable, that you can do it, that in itself is going to propel you into next level success. And as we already spoke about, the podcast for you is quite new. My podcast is still relatively new. Like I had, again, such a deep intuitive hit to start my own podcast. And I started it only, I don't know how many months ago now, but and it's already had so many downloads. And in yourself and in your podcast, like these are things that were always supposed to happen in divine timing. And so as well, for people listening, like remember to listen to that intuition, listen to the signs, like getting those signs from seeing that psychic and going for it, and now turning it into, this is your new identity, podcast host. And this is like what you were always supposed to do.
Do you know what, Jess? And now look back now, and I think I was meant to get fired. I was 100% meant to go through IVF because I'm meant to share that story. And I've done my journey to motherhood in 4 parts. It's like, that's how I've done it in 4 different episodes because, oh my God, the feedback I've had from it is incredible. Talk about IVF, talk about having C-section. But like you said, I've got yourself, you're a guest speaker, which is incredible. And I just want to be able to, at first it was like, right, I'm going to help women who are going through infertility. And now it's actually becoming so much bigger than that. But all these, like you say, curveballs that have been thrown at me have meant it's all been driving towards this. And geriatric mum is a label that I got slapped with. So I thought, well, I'm not going to see it as a negative. I'm just going to embrace it. That's it.
Just love that.
I'm a geriatric mum.
I love that.
I'm a MILF, quite frankly. Stepha's got a call on me.
You are 100% MILF. 100%. But Sally, it's been an absolute pleasure to chat with you. And I just love, I think this has just been a fabulous episode because we've gone through like the whole journey of, number one, people love listening to success stories. Like we all do, right? Because it gives us the motivation and the inspiration to go out and make things happen for ourselves. But I love how we've kind of just gone through your whole life to date and, you know, understood what the curveballs are and understood how you've dealt with them. And I think that this is going to really help inspire other people, even if they don't connect, you know, or understand the IVF process or anything like that. It's just going to help people understand the manifestation process from, you know, like that anybody can do, you know. And I think it's just been wonderful chatting to you, and I love your energy.
Oh, thank you. Honestly, Jess, thank you so much for having me on as a guest. And I love your work and what you do and how you help people. Honestly, your work is really magic and you're really special. You truly are.
Thank you so much, Sally. So, Sally, can you let everybody know where they can find you, what socials you have, and of course, I will be linking everything in the show notes.
Oh yeah, no, that's great. Thank you. So the podcast is called Adventures of a Geriatric Mum, hosted by Sally Wallace. It's really easy to find. You can get it on Spotify, Amazon, pretty much all platforms, iTunes, everything. And then if you're on Instagram, it is Adventures of a Geriatric Mum. Look at that. I've managed to get the whole thing in one, which is great. And also Facebook. I've got a page which is really easy to connect with, because I don't know whether a lot of people use Facebook anymore, to be fair or not. But to be honest with you, it's been my Facebook's been around for a long time, so I just decided to convert it.
Yeah, I have a Facebook page as well, but I have to admit I am hardly ever on there, but I think that it's still very much used. Definitely.
It's still on Facebook then. So it's just Adventures of a Geriatric Mum. So yeah, it's nice and easy to find on all platforms. I'm yet to delve into TikTok like Jess.
Maybe that's the next step.
I give that one a go. But thank you so much for having me on, Jess. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for being here. And like I said, I will link everything in the show notes, and make sure to go and follow Sally for even if you just want a laugh, guys. Thanks for tuning in, guys. If this episode resonated with you, share it with a friend who you think would love it too. And if you want to let me know how you found it, just screenshot this episode, add it to your Instagram story, and tag me at I am Jessica Paul so that I can throw all the love right back at you. And of course, subscribe, hit those 5 stars, and leave a review to show your support and to keep the good stuff coming. Sending you so much love and gratitude from your girl Jess.